You know, Jordan, after working out this week, I am starving. My muscles are going through lactic acid fermentation. But what should I have for a snack?
Bread!
Bread? That's a great idea. Let's go. Welcome to my kitchen. Today we are going to make quick yeast bread, which makes 2 loaves of bread. So first, you are going to get your bowl. You are going to need all white-purpose flour, yeast, sugar, salt, warm water, and oil. First, we are going to put 4 cups of flour into this bowl right here. If I can open it. To put in the 4 cups of flour, you will need a 1 cup measuring cup. One, two, three, whoops, 4. After putting 4 cups of flour into the bowl, you are going to put 2 packets of yeast into the bowl. Flour provides structure for the bread. White flour is the best flour to use because it is not as dense as other flours such as almond flour or whole wheat flour. And so more dense flour makes it harder for the bread to rise. Gluten in flour traps air bubbles, which allows the bread to set later. We want lots of gluten because it forms a web-like shape which allows for textured yeast. Smells like yeast. I'm hot. Whoops, got some on the counter. Mom, I got some stuff on the counter. I'll clean up. Yeast! Yeast is what allows fermentation to occur in bread. It allows the bread to rise. It consumes the sugar and excretes carbon dioxide, alcohol, and 2 pyruvic acids. After 2 packets of yeast are put into the bowl, you are now going to put 2 tablespoons of sugar into the bowl. One, 2. Yeast uses sugar to grow. It eats the sugar to excrete carbon dioxide, alcohol, and pyruvic acids, 2 pyruvic acids. In this instance, it creates carbon dioxide bubbles for the bread to rise. Sugar also helps with browning, tenderness, holding the moisture of the bread, and sweetening the bread. After putting 2 tablespoons of sugar into the bowl, you are going to put 1 teaspoon of salt into the bowl. We'll now put 1 cup of warm water into the bowl. Nope. After putting 1 teaspoon of salt into the bowl, you will now put 2 cups of warm water into the bowl. Water activates the yeast. We need this to help the yeast develop and multiply and to form its byproducts. After putting 2 cups of warm water into the bowl, you are now going to put 1/4 cup of oil into the bowl. I am using vegetable oil. So now once you have all of your ingredients in the bowl, the sugar, the salt, the flour, the yeast, and the water, and the oil, all of that you're gonna put it onto the mixer with the dough hook to mix it up. Eggs, although we did not use them in this recipe, many recipes that make bread do use eggs. Eggs are a leavening agent which allows the bread to rise. It lightens the texture, makes it more fluffy, tenderizes the bread, and can add consistency or smoothness to the bread. This is by the emulsifier lecithin in eggs. During this process, while the dough is in the mixer, you will add flour when needed to make sure it is not sticky. Stop adding flour once it is not sticky anymore. Flour, the yeast, the sugar, the salt, the hot water, and the oil are mixed together. Our bread will rise. Once the dough is done mixing, you will now put the dough into this bowl right here. You will now place the towel over the bowl, set the timer for 30 minutes, and then we will go to the next step. It rose! First, punch it down. Now take the dough out, place it on the counter, and knead the dough. I've learned from Grandma. You fold and push, fold and push. Do this for 5 minutes. You're going to divide the bread in half. We are using 2 loaf pans pre-sprayed with butter. You have to let it rise until the bread comes up to the rim of the pan. After the bread has risen to the top of the rim, you are going to now place in the oven for 40 minutes at 400 degrees Fahrenheit. Alcoholic fermentation is used while making bread. So alcoholic fermentation has 1 reactant of glucose and has 3 products. It produces 2 pyruvic acids, carbon dioxide, and ethyl alcohol. In this instance, while making bread, the yeast feeds on the sugar or the glucose, and it creates carbon dioxide. So this carbon dioxide gas bubbles, they form inside of the bread, and these CO2 bubbles in the bread expand to inside of the dough, allowing the dough to rise, therefore creating our final product of bread. That looks good. Alright, you can cut the next piece. I'll take this. Can I take it? Delicious.